it kind of snuck up on me, but I have been on YouTube for a year now, actually over a year now, which is flippin' crazy, and there's over 600 of you here now, and that's a lot of people, and that's super cool. So first off, thanks for being here. As a little like 1 year on YouTube kind of fun thing, I decided I wanted to react to my booktube newbie tag from a year ago. I'm literally wearing the same shirt that I am in that video because I thought that would be funny. I just wanted to kind of watch and react and answer these questions a year later and, you know, kind of just like have a fun time with you guys. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Bells. I'm gonna be doing the little booktube newbie tag. Felt like a rite of passage. Hopefully I don't make myself out to be a weirdo. I don't know. Good thing I stopped trying not to be a weirdo, because that's no fun. Now we're here with blue hair. Oh, my old intro. Cute. The first question, what is my goal with this channel? I would love to talk about books to someone other than my partner, as much as I love his input. It's probably good for me to get all my feelings out in a new media. That's one reason. I truly do want to create a kind of little book community over here. I mean, okay, truly, I really just want people to validate my opinions on books and tell me that I am smart and good. Yeah, that hasn't changed. Legitimately though, I think the biggest goal for me with this channel is I was an actor in a previous life. I've always been kind of an artist. I've always liked creating things. My biggest issue with acting and why I eventually left the profession was because I was creating someone else's vision. I was never creating my own. This is kind of like a way for me to create content about whatever the hell I want, which happens to be books. And I love books and they're a huge part of my life. I wanted to be able to create something that is totally my own, that I have total control over. And I want to encourage myself to branch out in my reading. Those aren't really like goals. They're more like reasons why I started the channel. That's my answer. I don't really have a particular goal with this other than to just have an outlet to talk about books and have an excuse to talk about books. Okay, so I pretty much agree with all of that, and I would say a lot of those goals I hit. I have a lovely community full of people, full of you lovely people. I've definitely branched out in my reading, which has been lovely. Definitely talking about books to people other than my lovely partner has been great. I've made some like real friends. Booktube is pretty cool for that. And I still stand by wanting to create things in my own vision. I don't know if I have any goals right now. I'd love to get monetized. Honestly, like this stuff takes a lot of time and I love the time. I'd like to be able to make even just a little bit of cash from AdSense. I think that would make this feel even more rewarding, but like it's something I would really like and I'd really appreciate since I do put a lot of work into these videos, but it's something that like will come when it comes, you know what I mean? So I'm not super worried about that, but it is a goal that I would like to hit eventually. Okay. Question 2. What can I bring to booktube? A constant existential crisis? Pretty bad anxiety? I don't know. I feel like I read fairly realistically. Something fun and unique that I can bring to the booktube community is I really do like nonfiction books and really try to incorporate that as like a separate section in everything that I've made so far and everything I'll continue to make, because I do believe that nonfiction books are so important to life. It's just cool to be able to learn about stuff from different people, different sources, in something that is so particular and yet creative as book is. Nonfiction, that's interesting because I have kind of steered away from talking about that just because it makes more sense to talk about fiction books because that's generally what people want to hear me talk about. If you guys want to hear me talk about more nonfiction books, like I still read nonfiction pretty consistently. So if you want to hear more about that, let me know in the comments. That's up to you guys. I try to curate my content to what I think you guys want to watch. That's so interesting that I put that up as a unique thing that I then stopped doing. I really read a huge variety of books. I can't like niche down my channel to like just romance because I don't read just romance. I read kind of a little bit of everything. I'm a big mood reader. So hopefully what that means for the booktube community is that everyone will find something that they like at least a little bit. I actually find that's not necessarily true anymore. I think my taste has niched down actually quite significantly. I'll put up my story graph stats here. I read pretty primarily fantasy,
like significantly. I read a lot of fantasy, I read a decent amount of horror, and I like my contemporary thought-provoking pieces. Those are really what I enjoy the most and what I get the most out of. So while I do agree with myself that I read a pretty wide variety of books, I think they all kind of head into the same themes. Still think my variety of reading does bring something to booktube, but I read a lot of fantasy and horror, and like if that's your vibe, I think you'll probably vibe with this channel more than if you read romance books. I don't really talk about romance books that much, you know?
I'm like really just here to rave about libraries.
Still here to rave about libraries, by the way.
I don't read a lot of young adult novels, so I think that does set me apart from a certain aspect of the booktube community. I just don't find a lot of myself in those books, so I prefer to read adult novels. I don't know. I don't know what I bring to the booktube community. Hopefully fun. Hopefully this is just like a good time for everybody involved and we all find new books to read and they are all from all over the place and we can all just be super scattered and unprepared together.
Mood.
What are you most excited for about this new channel? I feel like I kind of already talked about that. I'm excited to be a control freak and do whatever I want. I'm excited to create content. I'm excited to talk about books. I think I'm most excited to meet other people who read kind of like me. I would love to curate just like a group of people who are all here to support each other in our reading and our life goals, because books really do represent our own lives, don't they? The reason why we love story is because they're an extension of our own life in some way, shape, or form. So any book that you read, you're not gonna really enjoy it if you don't have some kind of a connection to it. I think that's a real beauty about books in general. So I'm super excited to just like create a hopefully supportive, book-loving little group over here on this corner of the internet.
Still exciting, still lovely. Also, I'm so like eloquent. I don't talk like that anymore. I planned these videos so specifically back then, and now I'm just like ramble, ramble, ramble. You guys get what you're gonna get.
What do I love about reading? What don't I love about reading? What kind of question is that? I don't know. I like books. Reading is cool. Read, kids. There's something you'll like.
Okay, I did not answer that question at all. Let's do a brief, what do I love about reading? I love the form of storytelling. I love that the form can change so significantly and the structure can change so significantly. And I love how people are drawn to different structures, even if they don't like think about it in that way. Like I am absolutely not drawn towards like a thriller structure, but some people really enjoy that like specific plot structure. Like that really works for them. How you can really push the boundaries of the medium is a huge, wonderful thing about storytelling. I also recently got into graphic novels, so I think like the expansion of that form as well, it's just all so interesting and cool and unique. I also love that everyone has different tastes. I love the community of reading. I love, even though it's like technically a very lonely thing, although did you know that reading wasn't a solitary habit? Like reading by yourself holding a book wasn't a solitary habit until like the 1900s or something. Before that, all books were like orally presented. So audiobooks technically are like the true form of storytelling if we're going on like a traditional level, which I thought was kind of cool. I love the different forms. I love the different ways we can tell stories. I love the different structures. I love the community. I love talking about stories, and I love how intricate stories can get and how unique and creative people freaking are. People are so talented. I freaking love it. So I love a lot of things about reading, obviously, but I wanted to share.
What book or series got you into reading? I don't know. I've been reading since I was like a baby. I really loved the Magic Tree House series as a kid. They were so fun. I really loved the Percy Jackson series. That was a little later on. The Inkheart series was a big one for me. Series of Unfortunate Events. Oh my god, I loved those. But I wouldn't be able to say what really got me into reading as a kid. I actually went through a whole phase where I wasn't reading almost at all. I guess maybe this is better like how did I get back into reading, which I got back into reading last Christmas. And it was The Alice Network by... oh shit, what's her name? By Kate Quinn. That was the first book that I read over Christmas break this last year. And it was when I had just discovered the Libby app, and you could do like the little skip the line thing where it lets you rent a book for only 7 days instead of the normal 3 weeks that you get at the library. And I just devoured it. It was like I was waiting for permission to sit down and read again.
I did have like a 6-year hiatus where I read maybe a book a year. It was like, it exactly how I said, it was like a switch flipped. and I just couldn't stop reading, and now we're here. Books are cool. I've been reading since I was too young to even remember the books that I was reading. Although I know my mom likes to say I knew all the words to Goodnight Moon as a baby, so that was probably one of my first books. But I've always loved books. I always escaped into books rather than deal with the real world, and like, wouldn't we all just prefer that?
What questions would I ask other booktubers?
Ooh, we will answer these.
Actually, I would be really curious to know how their reading has changed since becoming a part of like a social media community that's focused around your reading style. I'd be curious to see if they read more like hyped books or more popular books just to get like clicks, or if they've branched out significantly since starting their channel.
Okay, I will answer my own question. I definitely think I've branched out. I mentioned that earlier, but I think I've branched out more for myself than for you guys. I mean, I love you guys, but I read books that I want to read, you know? So I would definitely say that my reading has changed and that I definitely read a lot more than I probably would. Like, turning reading into a daily habit was kind of something that I felt obligated to do as a booktuber, to have books to talk about. I'm not mad about making that a daily habit though. But that is something that's changed, is like the sheer volume of books that I've read has changed. Last year I read 76 books a whole year, I think, something like that. And this year I'm already at 76 books and it's September. I certainly have read some like more popular books because of BookTube. I don't know if I do it for clicks. I definitely put them on my thumbnails to help with clicks. But I generally find if I read a popular book, it's because I'm curious about it, not because it's a popular book. In fact, my little Aquarius ass avoids hyped books because if too many people say it's popular, then I don't want to read it because I'm annoying.
What challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? Getting people to follow me, probably. The subscriber count has to be the biggest deal, right? Question 8.
Oh, that was quick. Yeah, I think that is probably still the most difficult thing, is subscribers and not caring so much about the numbers. My anxiety brain loved caring about those numbers early on into this game. Over the last probably just a few months, I've really stopped caring about what the numbers look like and just enjoy making the content. I do think that the numbers is the hardest thing, especially if you are a very like goal-oriented person, and if you want to talk to your family and be able to be like, oh look, I'm successful at this thing. Successful to most people means money. So like subscribers equals money, watch time equals money, and that's like a whole brand of being on YouTube and being a YouTube creator at all, especially a small creator, is the numbers like matter a lot. But I actually think rather than the challenge being the numbers, because like the algorithm is gonna do what the algorithm's gonna do, I'm gonna try different things and it'll pick it up or not. The actual challenge that I have found is not caring as much about the numbers, just enjoying the content I make and the people I get to talk to, and letting that be what drives me to continue to make videos and not caring about the numbers so much, you know?
Where do I read? Everywhere. I particularly like curling up in a chair. I was looking at my chair, or like in the bathtub. Although I prefer reading on my Kindle in the bathtub because it's like less heavy to like hold up in front of my face because I am lazy.
Still apply. I really do enjoy like a physical book, but there is something nice about being able to read like in the dark or at night with a Kobo. I do prefer my Kobo to my Kindle. To bring with you to doctor's appointments, unmatched. Since I read so many like big chunky books, it's nice to not have to like cart those with me. So where do I read like as a copy? I like physical, but I equally love ebooks. Audiobooks have really grown on me in the last like 6 to 8 months. I think you honestly just have to get used to the format before you can really thoroughly enjoy them, and I definitely enjoy them, and I love being able to like read on my commutes and stuff. And now where I read like physically, I got this lovely couch, I got a lovely chair, and I've got the lovely couch on this amazing balcony, and that's probably the best place to read, is in the fresh air, curled up with my cat, always.
What kind of books do you like to read? I don't know, good ones? This is such a silly question.
Not a silly question. What?
I like to read complicated plots. I like to read adventures, whatever that means, whether that's a fantasy or a historical fiction, just like some kind of like long adventure. Slice of life is really fun, but I really love following like the journey through someone's lifetime if it's written well. Think like Pillars of the Earth. I also love my like gothic and moody stories. I just love to imagine myself as like a little 20th century heroine trapped in a castle. The hero of my own story, okay? Diverse books. I just want to read books about other people who aren't like me. I'm a little white bitch. I just want to learn about other people. That's it. That's the books. You give me an adventure book with a gothic setting, with a diverse cast of people. It's probably a 5-star read for me. I've been really loving scary books. I love scary movies, but I find I don't like being jump scared, but I do like being scared, because I'm weird. I think the coolest thing about horror books is that they just have to actually be scary. And so I've been really enjoying the work that goes into horror novels and just how truly complex they have to be in order to be successful. I really do love fantasies. Give me magic, give me fairies, give me dragons, give me Brandon Sanderson's beautiful world building. I digress.
Give me Brandon Sanderson's beautiful world building. Oh, I was so cute. I was such a little baby, not starting the Way of Kings.
I don't love Westerns. I don't find them very interesting. I just don't care. I even tried reading out loud and like, it fell really flat for me. And that was a super diverse group of characters, but I'll pretty much read anything else. I don't read a lot of classics. I'm working on that. I'm trying to read classics I know I'll like, that aren't boring or full of misogyny.
What books do I read now? We've talked about this: fantasies, horrors, contemporaries. I like books that talk about something. I definitely like books with diverse characters. More and more, I'm trying to lean towards diverse reads rather than more straight white reads. Big adventures, totally. Complicated stories. I don't know if I necessarily mean complicated, but I really do like non-linear stories. Like, linear stories can get a little stale for me if they're not done well or in an engaging like structural way, but that really depends on the writer and the story and the characters and like all of that. So yeah, I think most of this still stands.
Okay, question 10 is, what does my book collection look like? You can like kind of see it. I actually already did a bookshelf tour video.
That's so funny. I also just did a bookshelf tour video, a full tour of my lovely bookshelf back here. So if you want to see what my book collection looks like currently, I'll link that in the description.
I really like to think of my bookshelves. I want them to look like charm bracelets. Like, I want it to really be a symbol of who I am. I want people to like look at my bookshelves and be like, oh, I can understand what you like and who you are based off of the books you read. I think that is so cool.
I still agree with that, honestly.
And books are so incredibly specific. If I had to sit there and be like, I know someone who has the exact same top 5 favorite books that I do, I truly doubt that that person exists, because we are all individual and we all connect to something different, which is super fun and super cool. And so that's like how I buy books and why I read mostly from the library. I want to like curate my own collection very particularly. If you haven't noticed, I'm a bit of a control freak, but it's a good thing.
Well, that was fun. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I love looking back at these old videos. I just did a video kind of like this last month. I hope you enjoyed this little blast from the past featuring the same freaking shirt. If you watched this video, if you've been here from the beginning, oh my gosh, let me know, because that would be really cool. Tell me how you feel like this has changed and if you enjoy this more or less than like how my content used to be. Have a great day. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!